Hi and welcome to the Crochet Circle. My name is Alex and in today's video I want to show you how to crochet a letter C. As you perhaps already know, first I'm gonna sketch it out and just explain in how many parts we're gonna do the letter C. So letter C is something like this. So we're gonna start in the bottom where I'm gonna be doing chain 12, then it's gonna be increases on the left and on the right side. This is gonna be kind of a straight line, so I'm gonna continue up this part, the curvy back of the C, and here is gonna be end of part 1. Then I'm gonna attach another string. I'm gonna do the extension up here, and then again, just when we were extending in the bottom, I'm gonna be decreasing at the top. So this is gonna be part 1, this is gonna be part 2, and then all I have is part 3 and part 4, this little parts of the C. So I think I can just begin now. I am gonna leave this here. I'm gonna be using my green cotton yarn. I'm gonna be using my 3mm hook, and I'm gonna begin with chain 12. So chain 12, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. This is chain 12. Now I'm gonna do chain 1, and in the second one from the hook I'm gonna do a single crochet. Now the first row is just single crochets, so that means 12 single crochets. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, this is gonna be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the last one is 12. Now this is the first row done, and now I have to extend at the ends, so I'm gonna be doing increases on each end, and I'm gonna do that 6 rows of it. So an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch, single crochets till the last stitch, where I'm gonna do again 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And after this row I should have 14 stitches. Because an increase is adding 1 single crochet on each side, so if I started with 12, an increase in the beginning and an increase at the end means plus 2 stitches. Now again, just turning the row, I did do a single crochet, I did do a chain 1 in the beginning. This is what I do to just go 1 step into the next row, because I want the row to be evenly stepping up. I've already done the increase in the beginning. I'm now just single crocheting till the last stitch, where I'm gonna do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Now I'm in the last stitch, and 2 single crochets or an increase. Another row, again an increase, 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and then single crochets till the end of the row, and in the last one again 2 single crochets, because every first and every last one is an increase. Now I'm at the last stitch, that means it's an increase. Again, I'm doing a chain 1 and then I'm turning work, and again the last one, the first one and the last ones are increases. In between I'm just doing single crochets, and I have to do 6 rows of these increases up. I am gonna count after this one. I think I am at row number 5, but I will definitely count it out, so an increase at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that's 5 altogether, but with the increases I'm only on the 4th row, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need 6 of the increases, so altogether in the 7th row I'm gonna then start with this part up. I've done the increases. Now single crochets till the last stitch, where it's gonna be again an increase, and I lost my stitch. Now I'm at the last one, and again the last one is an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I am at the last row where I'm gonna be doing the increases. So an increase in the beginning, just 2 single crochets in the same stitch, single crochets all the way till the end, and in the end stitch I'm gonna do again an increase. That means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And an increase at the end. Okay, so now I'm on this part. Here I'm gonna start with 8 single crochets and a decrease. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And a decrease. A decrease is you could go through both of the loops on two stitches of the previous round, but what I do, from the first stitch I just take the front loop. I hope you can see it. I just take the front loop, and then on the second stitch I go through both loops, and I make a single crochet out of it. Now the next row calls for a decrease on the beginning and an increase on the end. So I did do my chain 1. Now I'm gonna go through the first loop only and then scoop the second loop as well and make a decrease. Now single crochets till the end, where I'm gonna do in the last stitch an increase, meaning I'm gonna be doing 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Now an increase, and I should have 9 stitches. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. It looks like this for now. Now the next row is the beginning, it's just single crochets, and the end stitch is a decrease. So afterwards I'm gonna have 8 stitches all together. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and the 8th stitch is a decrease. As you can see, I kind of split my yarn, so I'm gonna do it again. I don't want any split yarns in my work. Perhaps it will be the inner side and it won't be shown, but still, I don't want it. Okay, so now we've made the row with 7 single crochets and a decrease. Now I have 10 rows of just single crochets. That means 8 single crochets in each row and just going up and up and up and up. And I am actually gonna be counting these rows. Now that's 1, 8 single crochets in a row. That's all I have to do, and I have to repeat it 10 times. That's 2 done. That's 3 done. If you have a row counter, you can use a row counter, but I don't have anything like that, so it's either counting the rows from the start or drawing it out for me. Because I already have a pen and a piece of paper here with me, I'm just counting and writing it down. So that's 4 done. This is the 5th one. Fifth one done. Now I need 5 more. Altogether it's 10 rows of 8 single crochets. Now that's 6. That's 7. That's 8 done. I need 2 more. That's the 9th one, and this is the last one. And that is 10 rows of 8 single crochets. Now I'm gonna do a chain 1, and the next row calls for an increase in the beginning and then 7 single crochets, and that means at the end I'm gonna have 9 stitches. Now the next row is a decrease in the beginning and an increase at the end. So I've just done a decrease, and because of the increase and the decrease being all in the same row, again I'm still gonna have 9 stitches. I'm just gonna double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Now the next one calls for an increase in the beginning and then 8 single crochets till the end. And to be honest, this is where part 1 is over. So I'm gonna do a chain 1 and I'm gonna cut the yarn. And this is the first part of the C done. Now I'm up to part number 2. And part number 2, I am gonna begin with 14 chains. So I'm gonna just leave a tail, and in the last stitch I'm gonna do 14. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm gonna do a chain 1 to go into the next round, and the next stitch is a decrease. Now, if you remember from the start, we've been doing increases to kind of widen it. Now we have to do the decreases. So this was decrease, and now doing single crochets in each of the chain till I get to the last stitch. This is gonna be on to the part 1, where I'm gonna be doing a decrease, and I have to repeat that 6 times, just like I repeated the 6 times on the bottom with the part 1. And in the end of this row I should have 24 stitches. No, actually not 24. I'm actually gonna count how many stitches I'm gonna have. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's correct, because the first stitch was actually a decrease, and a decrease means minus 1. And now here I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the last stitch is a decrease. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna put this yarn in. I'm just gonna use my needle in the end, and then I'm gonna be putting those loose ends in. So yeah, this is row number 1 done. I need 5 more rows like this, so a decrease in the beginning and a decrease at the end. In between I have to do single crochets. And then slowly part 2 of the letter C will be done. Afterwards, just those 2 little beads that kind of stick out, and then the letter C will be done. Now I am at the last 2 stitches, that means a decrease. And again, now I'm at the beginning, again a decrease. And this is now the 3rd row. And I need 3 more rows like this, and then the last row is just single crochets on top, because in the beginning we also started with a row of just single crochets, and it should be a symmetrical thing, the letter C. Now I have the last 2 stitches, so it's gonna be a decrease. And again, in the new row, the first stitch is a decrease. And then single crochets till the end of the row, actually till the last 2 stitches where there's a decrease. Now I'm at the last 2 stitches and I'm just making a decrease. Again, in the next row, the first one is a decrease, then single crochets till the last 2 stitches and a decrease again. One more stitch, and now it's time for a decrease. I'm gonna just repeat that because I lost a stitch. Okay, that was how many rows actually now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm at my last row with the decreases now. the last 2 stitches and do a decrease. Now the last row is just single crochets, and hopefully I will come out with 12 single crochets because I started with 12 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Perfect. I'm gonna do a chain 1, cut the yarn and just pull it through. About the loose ends and stuff, I'm gonna worry about these things at the end, just before I'm gonna be joining the 2 C's together. So this is now part 1 and part 2 done. Now I need part 3 and part 4. So I'm gonna be... I still have this little bit of yarn left over from a few of my other letters, and I am thinking about using this because it's only 3 rows and I think this should be enough to do 3 rows of the part 3 and 4. If not, then I'm gonna think about those things later. So I'm actually gonna start at the bottom, so this is gonna be my part 3 and this is gonna be part 4, but it doesn't matter. I need to go in my 10th stitch from the end of the C, so I need to go from here. I need to count 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the 10th one, I am gonna go in with my needle. I'm gonna do a slip stitch, a chain 1, and now it calls for a decrease. So that means I'm gonna be grabbing only the front loop of this stitch, and then in the next one I'm gonna go through 2, and the tail I'm just grabbing it and putting it in between the stitch. Pull it a bit tight and that's it. And now I need 8 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Perfect. Now the next row is increase on the outer side, so I'm gonna begin with an increase, and on the end there is a decrease, and in between there are just single crochets. Last 2 stitches and a decrease. Now the next one is a decrease in the beginning and then just single crochets till the end. And I should have 8 stitches at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Chain 1 and cut the yarn. Actually, I'm gonna be brave again and I'm gonna be again using this little bit of yarn that I have left over. Again on the top part in the 10th stitch from the end, so this is gonna be just a bit more challenging, but counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. and again here it's gonna be a decrease and then 8 single crochets. So I've done the slip stitch, I've done the chain one. Now I'm gonna do just the front loop, and then in the next stitch go through both loops. If it's not gonna work well, then I'm just gonna grab my second crochet hook and I'm gonna help myself with that. But I think it's gonna be fine. Yeah, it's done. So that's my first stitch as a decrease. I love living on the edge. It either works out or it doesn't work out. So now I have to do 8 more single crochets. And again, the tail I'm just working in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th one is kind of a hidden one because the previous round was a decrease in the first one. Okay, so this round is done. Now I'm gonna have an increase on the beginning and a decrease on the end. So that's an increase. Now single crochets until I have 2 stitches at the end where I'm gonna be doing a decrease. In the last 2 stitches it's a decrease. And now the last row is just a decrease and then single crochets. 7 single crochets, and then altogether I should have 8 stitches in this row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one is 8. I'm gonna do a chain 1. I'm not gonna play with this much amount of yarn anymore. This is gonna go into my scrap pile. And the first letter C is done. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a second letter C, and when I'm gonna have 2 of those letters I am gonna get rid of all the loose ends. As you can see, there are plenty of loose ends in this letter, and afterwards I'm just gonna join them together with single crochets and the letter will be nice and puffy and cuddly and all the rest of the things. Okay, so the first letter C. Now on to the second one. It's the same as I did before, so I'm gonna start with chain 12. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, single crochet, chain 1 and then a single crochet in the second stitch, and then just single crochets all the way till the end. Now this second letter C should be a bit easier and a bit faster to be done because I know now the pattern and you know now the pattern, and we can just crochet and count the stitches and the rows. but not with the first row, because I always have trouble with the first row, because I do want my crochet hook to go through 2 loops and not just one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is now 12, the last one. And now just increases in the beginning and increases at the end. And I need 6 rows of this kind of a type. So altogether I'm gonna be on the 7th row when I start with the curvy part of the letter C. An increase at the end. An increase in the beginning. And an increase in the last stitch. Chain 1, an increase, single crochets, and an increase in the last stitch. And an increase in the last stitch, so that means 2 single crochets in 1. Chain 1 and an increase, single crochets till the last stitch, where again it's gonna be an increase. An increase in the last one. And again, a row up, increase in the first stitch, and an increase in the last stitch as well. Again, increase in the beginning and an increase at the end. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is actually gonna be the 7th row that I'm doing. So after this row, I'm gonna be doing something different. Yeah, my cheat sheet paper again with the pattern on it. decrease in the last stitch. Now I have to do 8 single crochets and a decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a decrease. Now the next row is gonna be a decrease in the beginning and an increase at the end, and in between just single crochets. Now this is the last stitch, and here is an increase. Now in the next one, 7 single crochets and a decrease, and then I'm gonna have 8 stitches in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a decrease. Is the 8th stitch. Now I have to do 10 rows of 8 single crochets. So just 10 rows of 8 single crochets. I am gonna be writing them down so I will know where I am on my little piece of paper, but if you have a row counter you can use that. So row number 1 is done. Row number 2 is done. That's row number 3. Now that's row number 4. That's a row number 5 done, and I need 5 more. Now that's row number 6. Row number 7. Now this is row number 8, so that means 2 more to go. I'm gonna remember that I have 2 more rows to go. Now this is gonna be row number 9 and the last 10th of the 8 single crochets. And I didn't count right because because I should have ended on this side. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 1 2 3, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, again, this is the first row, just single crochets. And then I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 rows of increases. Then I have 1 2 3 10. Okay, and then I have 1 2 3. Yeah, I forgot that I didn't do the curvy part that I still have to do. I should have done more. Yeah, double check the pattern definitely. Don't forget, it's down in the description below. So now I'm gonna do an increase in the beginning, and then the rest of them is gonna be just single crochets. I really did think I did mess up the pattern. If it's gonna be way in the beginning, I would probably start all over again. Now the next row is a decrease at the beginning and an increase at the end. And an increase at the end. Now the next one is gonna be an increase in the beginning and then just single crochets. And I'm done with part 1, and I did finish at the right side of it. So now I begin with part 2, and just like I did before with part 2, I have to do 14 chains, and I have to go in here in the last stitch. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. Now chain 1 and do a decrease as the first stitch, and now single crochets, and you should have 13 stitches where the chains are, because 14 minus 1 decrease, it should be 13. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13. Now I'm gonna do single crochets till the end of the row, and then at the end of the row it's gonna be a decrease. I have to repeat this kind of a row then 6 times altogether, So let me just do a decrease, and at the end of these 6 rows I should have 12 stitches. So just a decrease in the beginning and a decrease at the end. When I was starting the letter, it was increases because I wanted to go out. Now I wanted to come back in, so that's why the decreases. In the end, when I'm gonna be at the last 2 stitches, it's a decrease. Again, in the beginning, it's a decrease, single crochets till the end, where the last stitch is again a decrease. Last 2 stitches, it's a decrease. Again, in the beginning, a decrease, then single crochets till the end, where I'm gonna have a decrease. Last 2 stitches, meaning it's time for a decrease. Now the next row, beginning with a decrease, and again also ending with a decrease. I have the last 2 stitches, that means it's time for a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now again a decrease. And the last stitch is a decrease. So that's 6 rows of decreases at the end. Now the last row should be just 12 single crochets. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Perfect. Everything worked out. Cutting the yarn. That's part 2 done. Now in the 10th, counting from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going in the 10th stitch. Again, I'm beginning with a decrease, but I just did a slip stitch, I did a chain 1. Now I'm gonna just scoop the front of the loop here, and then go in the next one through both of them and pull it a bit tight. Now I'm gonna work, no, I'm not gonna work this yarn in. I need to do 8 more stitches. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now the next one is gonna be an increase in the beginning and a decrease at the end. In between of those 2 stitches, just single crochets. 1 more stitch, and now a decrease. And now the last one is a decrease in the beginning and then 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, cutting the yarn and pulling it through. Now all I have to do is on the top, because the bottom is now done, I still need this one. So in the 10th stitch, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you don't go into the 10th one, you will have to just undo the first row, because don't forget, the first row is a decrease and then 8 single crochets. So that's my decrease. Now I have to do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now this is my 6th one, 7, and the 8th one is, because it was a decrease, a bit harder to find, but I can see it here. Okay, so that's my 8th one. Now next row is just increases at the end and a decrease. Did I say in the end? It's an increase at the start and a decrease at the end. If I get something sometimes wrong, don't forget there is a link to a pattern in the description down below, and you can definitely go and check it out. Now the last row is, in the beginning it's a decrease and then 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, cut the yarn, and now comes the fun part, getting rid of all the loose ends. Yay! So this is the letter C. It's gonna look much nicer once it's gonna be joined together, and I'm just gonna start now with hiding the ends in. I don't need I don't need to do it much because it's gonna be all hidden in the middle of the work, because I do have 2 C's that I'm now gonna join together with single crochets all around. I'm gonna stuff the letter C, so it's gonna have more of a 3D effect. So these are fine. On to the next one. That's always like the worst part for me in crocheting, hiding all the loose ends in. This one is done. Now 3 more on the first C. I have one more and it's here, and then all my loose ends will be hidden in the middle of the work. I did try it without doing this and it works as well, to be honest. You just have to be more careful when you're crocheting 2 letters together. Okay, so this is the first C done, and I'm gonna put it face side down. I'm just putting all the loose ends on the same side, so once I'm gonna be joining the 2 C's together, I'm not gonna have any trouble with watching where the loose ends are and making them stay in place. think I have just one more, and then I am gonna start with joining the two letters together. Okay, so there's one of my C's and there's the other of my C's. And this is how they're gonna work together. I'm gonna be using my contrasting white yarn because this letter C is actually part of my Merry Christmas garland that I'm making, and I am actually gonna start. Where should I start? I'm gonna start here at the top, to be honest. I'm just gonna do a slip stitch, chain one, and a single crochet, and then another single crochet. I'm gonna do a chain two because I am making loops to pull a string through. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I am. So, and for turning the corners, I'm doing single crochet, chain one, and then another single crochet in the same stitch. And now just single crochets on the edge. I'm double checking just the back side as well, if it looks alright, if I've got both of the C's together, and if everything is alright, I can just crochet all along. Now the sharp edges are gonna be done with a single crochet, a chain one, and a single crochet, and the other edges, like the inner edges, are just a slip stitch in the corner to hold it together. Now I am at the corner stitch, so I'm gonna do chain one and another single crochet in the same stitch. I'm gonna do a chain two because I am making those loops. Now I have to do just single crochets to join these two C's together. Again, chain two, and this is gonna be my corner stitch. Again, in the corner stitch I'm gonna do a chain one and another single crochet in. and again just single crochets all the way up. Now you can really see the difference here because I am using a contrasting color of yarn, but if you would be using the same yarn to do the edge as well, then it wouldn't be shown as different. But I do want to use this on my, at least on these letters that I'm currently doing for my project, and they still look really awesome, and they do look like they would have a bit of snow on top of them. Okay, that's my corner one. I'm gonna do a chain one and another single crochet in the same stitch, and I'll just single crochets all the way along the edge. Again, the corner one, I'm just gonna do a chain one and a single crochet in the same stitch. And now going down on the row, I'm gonna do a few more stitches and then I am gonna fill this part of the letter C. Now I'm gonna stuff this part. Because I want the stuffing to go into all the edges. Okay, and now I'm gonna begin with continue with the edge of the joining of the two letter C's. There's some yarn sticking out of here, so I'm just gonna shove it in. Now again I'm gonna stuff a bit more, and hopefully I will be able to get all these loose ends of the green inside as well. These two are still outside, but these two cannot go in, and these two cannot go in as well. Letter C is slowly getting its shape. Now I'm gonna continue. I'm just stuffing it as I go along, because I don't want to be in the end then with no hole to put the stuffing in. I am double checking the front and the back just to be sure that I do go through both sides. Now this is the corner one, chain one, and turning the corner, and now just single crochets again in each of the stitches. Now this is the last one, again turning the corner with chain one and single crochet in the same stitch. I'm gonna almost fully stuff the letter C when I'm gonna be turning the corner. Now this is my corner one. I'm gonna do a chain one and turn the corner, and then I'm gonna do a chain two for my loop, and I think I have enough space here to fill the letter C up completely. I need just a bit more. And the letter C will be done as soon as I just join them here on top. last stitch. I'm gonna cut the yarn, pull the yarn through. I didn't do a chain one because I'm gonna join the white yarn, not with the first one, but I'm gonna go in the second one and then go back from where I started. All I have to do now is make a knot and tie the white joining yarn together. I'm pulling a bit more because that means when I'm gonna stretch the letter C, my knot will not be visible. So you see, if I stretch it, it goes inside. Now I'm just gonna grab two loose ends of the yarn and pull them through a bit more. And this is letter C done. I still have to kind of pull it a bit and get the filling in all of the ends, but as you can see, letter C is done. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to get notified when I'm gonna get a new video out, you can definitely subscribe and don't forget that bell button. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. You can definitely share this video, because if you think any of your friends will benefit from it, go ahead and share it. And if you liked it, there's a like button as well down there. I hope to see you soon.